And now, it's time for the Spirit Campfire, starring Ted Nugent and John Brinkus. It's the show about the physics of spirituality with attitude.
Is this a spirit campfire? Or just
this is the one and only
Cassidy campfire. Good evening, John. How are you on this? Today is Monday, the 13th of July, 2020, and I'm celebrating it with mucho gusto.
That's right. What we need right now is we need to try to break Facebook, because you know how Facebook likes to sort of tamp things down when there's a big positive bright light on it. The way to break it is to press the heart button, press the like button, the thumbs up, tell the world that we're here. The algorithm sends out the link, reminds people that, hey, watch the Spirit Campfire. So let's see it. Heart it up. Give us the like. Let's get a ton of viewers going on this, because there's nothing but positive energy coming your way.
John, you know, people and things and energies and dirt bags like Facebook have been trying to tamp me down for the last 70 years. They've failed miserably. And I'm celebrating today, July 13th, 2020, like I mean it. Almost like a horny 12-year-old guitar player in Detroit in the garage with his first loud amplifier, discovering an uncharted musical territory and
That's
making
right.
God question whether I'm adequately applying the Chuck Berry Bo Diddley methodology of musical outrage. So, John, greetings, and how are you tonight?
You know what? I'm really good, Ted. You know, and I appreciate you asking. You know, we had a total blast this weekend with the kids. Went out to the lake. Moved recently outside of Atlanta to northern Georgia, and we went out to Lake Oconee. And you know, it's unbelievable. As you know, Ted is a father. It's unbelievable. Like these days, these summer days, I'm telling you, warm summer nights where you're just out goofing around with your kids, not doing anything planned or specific, are the best times in life.
It's almost like, John, you deserve me just for the spontaneity and organic methodologies that you implement as a father. Did you know, John, that not only am I the Motor City Madman, and I actually authored the song Wango Tango, but the important thing is I meant it. But more important than all those celebrations, did you know that back in 1978, I was named Father of the Year?
Is that true?
Children's grade school.
Wow.
And so I have the most important credentials in the world, which is why, by the way, you know, talk about positive energy and celebrating all the good you can possibly wrangle while identifying the bad and the ugly, because there's always going to be good, bad, and ugly.
Yep.
But maximizing the good. Let's be honest. It's 2020, July 13th, and we're going to get into the positive, and we're going to just milk the living hell out of it.
Yes, we are.
We're going to mine positive energy where no one knew you could find it, which we are really successful at. And I got to thank you, John, because the Spirit Campfire has really touched a lot of people. But in order to maximize the good, we must all be aware, before the Spirit Campfire starts off, be sure that you're engaged not only with your mayor and your governor and your senator and your congressman, but with your neighbors. I think now more than ever, with the chaos and the ugliness, the violence that's going on, I think we need to all know our neighbors as friends. In the old days, I got to tell you, growing up in Detroit, we all knew everybody on the block, and for blocks and blocks around in Redford. My telephone number in Detroit from the time I was born in 1948 till we moved to the next house in 1959, my phone number was Kenwood 12345. So everybody had our phone number, and we had a great relationship with our neighbors. So I'd like to think that the Spirit Campfire is an extension of the neighborhood, which makes me think maybe I'm like Mr. Rogers with a Glock in a birdland. That's what I am.
Very similar. A lot of people are with word association. You say Ted Nugent, I say Fred Rogers. Nugent Rogers.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, I have one of
association.
those. I have one of those sweaters, but I actually wrapped the haunch of a deer in my sweater. And I want to thank everybody for all the incredible communications on my Facebook. And by the way, I know this gets you in a tizzy, which I'm really
Go
good at.
on. Go ahead, ruin it. Go
The
ahead.
Spirit Campfire is brought to you by the hat, and I want to apologize to everyone because when we brought the Spirit Campfire to the world with the hat, that the people who handle the hat.
It's the people's hat.
And they weren't taking orders. So because I spent hours and hours.
That's right.
With these. So if you want the hat, we have finally taken a crowbar to the shins of an unsuspecting ineptitude. And now you can purchase the hat at tednugent.com. So I wanted to get that out of the way. And I apologize for the lack of.
If you're going to do it, just do it early.
Yes,
good.
I just did it. But I want to celebrate.
We got that out of the way. So listen, I want to give some shout outs to some of our audience here.
Please do.
Who already listen, everybody in the comment box, put where you're listening from because we have a worldwide audience. We have right now, we've got, who do we have from New York? We've got Mike Anthony from New York. We've got Jim from Tampa Bay. We've got Chrissy from the UK. We have Thomas from Australia. We've got
down under.
Down under. We've got Sharon from New Zealand. What is it about Australia and New Zealand constantly, and you don't even tour there?
Because they need my piss and vinegar. Because
really?
I think Ted Nugent piss, vinegar, spirit, and attitude is against the law down there. Right. And I got to tell you, on my Facebook, I communicate with these people from Australia and New Zealand and Ireland and Scotland and Tokyo. I mean, in France and Belgium and Germany and Scotland. I mean, thank you, everybody around the world for this unbelievable connection that you have honored me with all these years.
It's crazy.
You know, we have a Spirit Campfire, which is a live Zoom feed, but also on my Facebook, we have nonstop dialogue. And a lot of people go, it's not really Ted Nugent answering. It's really me. It's me. I sit down at the laptop in between chores, in between training the dogs, in between snuggling with Mrs. Nugent, in between doing my media interviews, in between wrangling unbelievable sexy licks out of my Gibson Birdland, which, by the way, I was in the studio yesterday with a killer rhythm section, John Kutz on drums and Johnny Big on the Thunder bass guitar with Bland Cromwell at a brand new studio right here outside of Waco, Texas. And we captured some unbelievable animal breeding soundtrack music. I can't wait for the world to hear the new songs.
All right. So, Ted, I got a couple things for you. First of all, we got a comment from Donald Schreiber. He said, you played at my club, The Loft, in 68.
Oh, yeah.
Don Loft stood for live only for today. Glue was the fad.
I need an interpretation on that. But before we interpret that, let's go down the history of the Spirit Campfire. Billy Gibbons, what an honor to have Billy on. Tim Montana, Mitch Ryder, Jason Hartless, and Greg Smith, and the unbelievable Ricky Medlock. But to keep that world-class musical virtuosity and shit kicker, piss and vinegar spirit and attitude and firebomb of musical adventure, we've got a damn Yankee on with us tonight. And I'd like to right now welcome Jack the Blade on the Nugent Spirit Campfire. John, meet my buddy Jack Blade, the damn Yankee.
Let's bring in Jack Blades. Where's Jack Blades? Herbert, bring in Jack Blades here. Where is he? Where is he? He's got a knock on the door.
Hello.
He's knocking on the electric.
There he is! There he is!
Hello.
There he is! Hey!
Can you see?
Jack, welcome, man. God bless you for coming on. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad to be here, Ted. Anything for you. You know that.
I do know that. Now, you know, John, when I jam and create music with my fellow virtuosos and dynamic funk brothers, it really is, you know, we call this, Jack, a Spirit Campfire, but go ahead and wax poetic. Would you say that every time Tommy Shaw and Michael Cardelloni and Jack Blades and Ted Nugent got together to create this outrageous, fun damn Yankees music, it was like a Spirit Campfire, wasn't it?
It was pretty amazing. I mean, it was from the very beginning, from the first weekend. Remember that first weekend in New York City?
Yes.
Good Lord, New York City. What the hell were we doing there? I mean,
I remember they hired me just to do security as we were walking the streets late at night. But Jack,
we're like at New York. we're like in New York City rehearsing and freaking, like what are we gonna call this band? And Ted, we'd taken a break, and Ted's sitting there talking to one of his hunting buddies on the phone. He's like sitting here chewing on a toothpick and whatever, and hanging on the phone and saying and the guy said, well, what's it sound like? Tommy Shaw, Ted Nugent, Jack Blades, and Ted says, sounds like a bunch of damn Yankees to me. And Tommy and I looked at each other and said, that's the name of the band right there.
That's the name of the band, Spontaneous. But Jack is such a musical force, and Tommy and Michael and everybody I've been so honored and fortunate to collaborate with. But Jack, I've told the story, but I want to hear it from the Jack Blades perspective. And let's go back to March 18th, 1978, when I jumped on stage at Cal Jam 2 with Sudan blood and guts still on my fingernails. What was the name of the band you played there that night?
Rubicon.
Rubicon, yes. So we didn't really collaborate back then, but that was our first encounter, right?
We're sitting here. We're a brand new band. I'm like, Brad Gillis and myself, Brad from Night Ranger, myself.
Killer musicians.
Yeah, and we're sitting in there. We're in our dressing room, and we just happened. We're the newest band on the thing. We just had a record out. It was a funk rock band, a 7-piece, a horn section with Jerry Martini from Sly and the Family Stone, the sax player, right? So we're sitting there. Ted's dressing room is right next to us. He comes off the stage, and we're all sitting there going, oh, that was something else, that show. I don't know what was going on. And the next thing we know, Ted jams both his fists through the freaking wall of the motorhome. I mean, the double wide, just like, bam. I don't know. Was that the night you fired your band or something? I don't know. They were
right.
you off or something, whatever it was. But it was like, okay, so that's Ted Nugent. Oh, okay, I got it now. Okay.
I got a question. Here. As the only non-damn Yankees member here, I got to understand this. Now, Ted Nugent is Ted Nugent, and Ted Nugent is coming together with rock and roll legends, with musical geniuses, and everyone's got to work together. What was it like when Ted comes in the room and you have this immense talent pool all around you guys? How are you able to balance egos and talent to make it work?
Well, you know what? That's actually a good question, because from the very beginning, I mean, Ted, you can amen to this one, but I mean, from the very beginning, we were in there and we were like, you know what? Let's everybody, check egos at the door. And I swear to God, Ted kind of checked his ego at the door.
I like the kinda
checked his ego. No, what he did was he interpreted that as, I'm going to listen to them musically, what they have to say. And if I like what they have to say, I'm going to join in musically on this excursion. You know what I mean? And that's what we did from the very beginning. And at that point, and you know what? We were totally honest with each other. I mean, I'm probably Ted. I mean, believe it or not, you'll probably agree with this, but I'm probably the one that goes like, Ted plays a lick and it's an amazing lick, and he plays another, and I'm like, no, Ted, you got anything better than that? And Ted's like, oh, okay, well, how about this? Down, 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 down. Next thing out comes freaking Don't Tread on Me. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, that's how the damn Yankees function from the first day until this very day we're talking right now.
Absolutely. It was a collaboration of music lovers that loved the music that inspired us, all those black heroes and all that Motown and the Sam and Dave, no matter what Chuck Berry, Bo Diddley, Little Richard, James Brown, Wilson Pickett Lick, Somebody Let Go. We all knew the song. We were all raised on that soulful, American, authoritative, emotional, bombastic music. So, egos. My ego was eaten every day by my enthusiasm. I'm enthusiastic. And what Jack and Michael and Tommy brought every day, and I know I bring it every day because I love the music. We brought a craving to test each other and first of all, I respected Tommy Shaw as a musical force. I respected Jack Blades as a musical force. This guy farts in harmony. This guy is a walking, talking, breathing, outrageous musical force. So the egos, I don't think egos were there. I think a genuine reverence for everybody's ingredients that we brought to the songwriting, the performances, and everybody listened to everybody.
That's the key. That's the key. That's the key with the damn Yankees. Everybody listened to everybody. Like, I got an idea, but it's like, well, what would Ted I'm not going to say mine. What I always have mine in the back of my head, but how would Ted approach this? How would he look at this Rubik's cube? You know what I mean? And he would look at it in a completely different like side and an angle that I would have never have dreamt of. And the same thing with Tommy. And that's how the damn Yankees kept it all rocking and rolling.
So what's interesting, I got a question from on Facebook here is, so Jack, this is interesting. With Night Ranger, you guys put out Sister Christian, and obviously is an iconic song. The question that we have on Facebook is, what was it like to see how it was used in Boogie Nights? Because it's one of the craziest scenes in cinema history.
Oh man, that was wild. I'll tell you what, they told us about the movie. We're like, yeah, it sounds pretty, avant-garde, it sounds pretty cool. So, but the first time.
Did you know what they were going to do?
Well, the first time we actually saw it, we went to the movies. Kelly, our drummer who sings Sister Christian, who Ted knows very well, and my wife Molly and myself, the three of us went to a movie theater and we watched it. And when the scene came up, I'm telling you, man, Kelly and I look at each other. We started sweating because I think we'd been in that guy's room back in 1983 at the exact scene when that was going on. We're looking like going, this is way too realistic, man.
Oh my God.
This is way too realistic. And then the little dude's like shooting off the firecrackers in the corner. Everybody's like out of their minds on blow,
Sister Christian and the use of that song, wherever it might be used, it's a great, great ballady, great rockin', emotional, really a dynamic song. But when I realized I was going to be in a band with Jack Blades, I think I was the first one that said, we got to play Don't Tell Me You Love Me and Rockin' America. We got to do a couple Night Ranger songs because those are such iconic guitar masterpieces. I couldn't wait to unleash myself on those songs.
I love it. I love it. Ted, every time we play, You Can Still Rock in America. After we finish the song, Ted leaned over and goes, I should have written that frickin' song.
Yeah, I'm pissed off. There's only a few songs I could have wrote. One was I Can't Drive 55. The other one is We're an American Band by Grand Funk, Street Fightin' Man by the Stones, and Rockin' America by Night Ranger.
And of course, Street Fightin' Man on our second tour, that's the song that the damn Yankees started our shows with. Because
not the recorded version, we performed it.
We performed it, yeah. We actually performed it because this is because of Ted. Ted always said, I gotta sing the words. So what can a poor boy do except to play in a rock and roll band? He do his best Mick Jagger.
Bottom line is, you can tell, John, everything about the damn Yankees, and I got to tell you, everything Jack represents and what Tommy and Michael represent, and certainly what I represent, the damn Yankees was one musical fun orgy. It was so much fun. We almost laughed ourselves to death every day, no matter how brutal the road might get. Is that right, Jack?
The entire way. I mean, a lot of times, here's the deal. With the damn Yankees, like Tommy and Michael and I would be on the tour bus and Ted would fly, right? He flew most of the time. But a few times he decided to ride on the tour bus with us. And I don't think we slept because all night long Ted would be saying things in his bunk and like screaming and we were just in hysterics the entire time I'm telling you, just the thought of those things,
Right.
The thought, Mikey, come quick, Mikey, he'd be screaming. It'd be like, it is. The damn Yankees were so much fun. We laughed and we joked. And whenever things got intense anywhere, which I don't remember anyone getting intense except for we'd be in the studio with Ron Nevison. But other than that, everything. We always used humor and we all just got right out of it.
All right. So let me ask you this. Now, you guys are in a very unique position, not only in rock and roll, but in life, right? Because everybody tries things and you never know if it's going to work or not. And you both obviously have iconic songs and the other members of the damn Yankees have iconic songs. And nobody knows, this is the song that's going to make it giant. So you guys come together and high enough kind of catapults you onto the scene, right? And it was like this MTV track. Everybody saw it. And they were like, oh, my God, it's this super band. But did you guys know that song was going to immediately hit?
Well, let me tell you, as soon as I heard it, I had my thinking cap on because it's kind of a mellow song, but I knew we were going to go into that territory with Tommy Shaw's incredible musical vision and the way Jack can create an arrangement and a chord change and the lyrics. And it goes back to the mutual respect. I so revered the opportunity to see what can I bring to these guys. Because these guys really don't need me. Every song by Styx and Night Ranger has these killer guitar parts anyhow. You know, not that I'm worried about meeting that bar. I have much confidence that I shall. But when I think the ultimate thing is not only was I able to bring a Nugent fiery guitar solo that song and some noises, but the fact that I got guns in the video. I think the
there
fact
you go.
Wait, I gotta explain. When Tommy and we came up with the idea for the song, and I swear to God, this is a true story. We're like, this is really good, isn't it? I think it's good. We had the chorus and like the verses, stuff like that, kind of mapped out. And
I was literally off in the mountains. I was shooting my bow and arrow. I was chasing deer and rabbits. I think
we were in some tree stand in Michigan. But anyway, we said, okay, let's play it for Ted. Should we play it for Ted? And we looked at each other and we go, he's gonna hate it. He's gonna think we're a couple of pussies. This is really, I mean, this is really. And we said, nope, we're gonna play it for Ted. Okay, so we go in. This is a true story. We go in and play it for Ted, and Ted's sitting there. You know, we put a cassette on. We said, Ted, hey, we have this idea for a song. You know, it's called High Enough. Just check it out. Just check it out. Don't make any judge. Just listen through the whole song. And so Ted goes, yeah, sure. So we stuck a cassette in. Remember cassettes?
Go on.
So we stuck a cassette in, and we played it. And Ted's sitting back together with his ever-present toothpick in his mouth. You know, just sitting there going, listening to the whole song, and it was over. And Tommy and I are just sitting there. You know, back then I think it was only like 2 minutes long because we hadn't finished the song, of course.
Right.
demo. Yeah.
So we're sitting there, we're free, you know, and we're really starting to sweat now because he's not saying anything. Nugent's just sitting there, kept chewing on his freaking toothpick, and we're like, oh no, God, he hates it. He freaking hates this thing. So anyway, so then he finishes it. It stops. He goes over, he clicks the thing. He goes, I think, you know what this song needs? And we're like thinking to ourselves, oh boy, here it comes. You know what I mean? Out comes the gun, shoots the cassette, you know, but we're like, he goes, you know what this song needs? He picks up his guitar because we were in a rehearsal hall, and he goes, here's what it needs. It needs, and he starts playing the chorus. And Tom and I look at each other and we said, that's exactly what it needs. That's exactly, and that's what
we had in mind.
That true story, and that's what happened with the song. And then we, you know, we did it, and of course Ted did a great solo. And remember that time? Hey, remember we were filming it, and the cop in New Orleans said, "Hey, I'll take you guys back to your hotel." And you know, it's about 2 a.m. Ted and I are like, "Okay, that's great." So Ted's sitting up front, I'm sitting in the back, you know, behind the grate. And everything like that. And they proceed to go, this is back in 1992 or 1990.
1990, yeah.
He proceeds to go like 90 miles an hour, like through neighborhoods and stuff like that. And Ted the whole time is standing there with his arm across, kind of looking over at me like with big eyes back there, and then just going forward again. And we're going, and the policeman looks over and he goes, yeah, we kind of do what we want to do around here, you know? It was classic. It was great. And those were New Orleans' finest, actually, in the video.
Wow.
Those are
I got a question in Facebook from Gary Michaels. He says, ask Ted about busting Tommy's guitar when he started playing Come Sail Away.
Ooh.
Well, actually, it was Babe, I think, wasn't it?
It was Babe.
Babe, I love you.
It was
Babe, I'm leaving.
Man, I'm leaving.
If I come with a prejudice about what Ted Nugent might stand for, which is why they were a little apprehensive when they were going to play high enough for me. But again, I entered this band as a band member. And even in my solo career, I've always treated my musicians with the utmost respect, or I wouldn't have it in the band.
All right, so what happened for you to break the guitar?
Yes, well, I'm getting up to that. So I think it might have been Tommy's idea. I think Tommy said, "I'm gonna, in the middle of a damn Yankees set, I'm gonna come out and start strumming like a pussy on this little acoustic, Peter, Paul, and Mary Goes Soft." And he says, "When I start, babe, you come on over and tap me on the shoulder, take the guitar away, and destroy it." And I went, "I can do that."
And we happened to be in Chicago, of course, where Styx is from.
Oh yeah.
And and we thought, well, in that point, Tommy was like, it was the big middle finger to the guys in Styx at that point, and so he was, and actually, some of Dennis DeYoung's, I think his son was in the audience, and a couple of his relatives were in the audience, and we didn't know that, and of course we apologized to Dennis later, and it's all water under the bridge now, but. Yeah, that was
really upset. But it's a joke.
A little upsetting.
It's like, I don't know, coming up and trying to play "You Are My Sunshine" at a Lemmy concert. The guy's gonna crush you. It was a funny moment. The audience got it. And it was one of those moments where I think not just the mutual respect we had for each other, and I think. I'm speaking for all of us. I couldn't wait to hear what those guys had in mind. I couldn't wait to hear Jack's new chord change and his musical idea. I couldn't wait. So there was a real respect there, but there was also a sense of defiance and wanderlust that nothing was sacred and we could do anything we wanted to do. And so that's why the music was so authentic, because it had no baggage, no presumptions, no inhibitions at all. And people loved that piss and vinegar.
Now, everybody, if you realize how special this interview is right now, I mean, Facebook is going nuts. You got to heart it up, give us thumbs up, tell us where you're listening or watching from. Here's the next question. So who was the alpha? I mean, who was the ultimate decision maker in this band?
It was a real democracy. There were a couple of times.
There were only four, right?
There were a couple of times.
Yeah, but it was the three of us. Poor Michael. He had to do what we wanted. But we always thought him kindly.
But I'm going to do an interview with Michael coming up, and I already know what he's going to say about that. He was a new unknown drummer that is obviously proven he's a world-revered thunder drummer. Yep. But it was a learning experience for him that I think any musician would have given their left nut to experience. But when it comes to decision making, and Jack, I'm a cocky guy and I'm the alpha male and I'm in charge. But when it comes to making music, I'm more of a sponge. I know what I can do.
I got to tell you, truthfully, that's exactly what it was like. You were, as far as I'm concerned, you were probably the easiest guy to work with. I'm not, and that's no dive and everything like that. It was so because you'd throw an idea to Ted, and we'd all sit there and we'd all start playing it, and we all realized if it was great, or we all three would go, or all four of us would go, okay, we're not doing, let's maybe what else could we come up? I mean, that's what it was. There was never like we got to play it like this and it's going to go like this and everything. Plus, which the greatest part about the damn Yankees for Tommy and Michael and me was that when anything went sideways, we could always say, well, I mean, we're in a band with Ted Nugent. It's all Ted's fault. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Blame it on Ted.
And I would accept the guilt.
Of course, it's Ted Nugent. Of course, we could get away with murder because all we'd have to do is go, well, we're in a band with Ted Nugent. Oh yeah, well, it's of course it's Ted Nugent. You could say anything.
Escape hatch.
Yeah, it was classic. He was completely our cover, man. He was our beard the whole time.
Hey, the guy who's never done any drugs or alcohol or anything else. It's his fault. I have a question.
It really was, I think, and I've said this in numerous interviews, but it's good to have my damn Yankee blood brother Jack here. And I'm going to be, we're going to have Tommy on. We're going to have Michael on. I'm going to get Derek St. Holmes on. We got Governor Palin coming on. Yeah. We got we got Tom Morello coming on. We got Wayne Kramer of the MC5. These are the guys that I'm pursuing right now because nothing is sacred and it doesn't matter. Nothing else matters except for a united reverence, admiration, and respect for the music that we all share. Nothing else matters.
Wow. Well, so here's a question I've got from Facebook. I'm going to read some of the names. I've got Andrew, Warner, Lloyd, Christy, Perry. They're all asking the same thing. Are the damn Yankees going to appear again on stage?
Jack?
I would hope so.
We get this all the time.
This is all I hear. This is all everyone's saying. Wait, this is a big deal. Is a third album happening? Are you guys going to be on stage?
Totally,
what's going to happen?
My band is Night Ranger. My band is so sick of freaking the meet and greets in the line. It's like, y'all gonna do Damn Yankees? It's like every time. So y'all gonna do Damn Yankees again? I mean, like, and it's like the guys are like, oh god, here comes the damn Yankee question again. You know what I mean? I mean, look, it would be, as far as I'm concerned, it would be a blast. It would be, not only would it be an honor, but I think it would be fun for all the people that, the younger ones that didn't get a chance to see what that band was all really like live. Because if you can imagine just massive mayhem and chaos and in the midst of massive creativity and guitar licks and singing and everything, that's what the damn Yankee, it was just like this amazing thing, like this juggernaut of like senses, you know what I mean? You were getting nailed, and then the show would be over and people were like, you know,
it really was a ferocious musical force to reckon with. But my answer to the universal, constant, ubiquitous question about whether the damn Yankees might get back together, will we get back together? Would you like them to get back together? I certainly would love the opportunity. In fact, I never say never, because I think, and I don't think nothing, I know for a fact, if we can get a geographical logistics where Jack Blades, Tommy Shaw, Michael Cardelloni, and Ted Nugent got in a room with a recording device of some type with our instruments, I virtually guarantee you, within seconds, just like the songs we created, nobody ever went, geez, what keys should it be? How about this chord? Hey, what should we sing about? We literally would plug in and songs happened. Every time. And even the ones we threw out were stone cold motherfucker. They were great songs. So here's the guarantee. If I know Tommy is Stixing Up a Storm, Michael Cardelloni is on the Eternal End tour with Leonard Skinner. I love my tour with Jason and Greg. Night Ranger kills every night. But I believe that the four of us can crowbar a calendar, get in a room somewhere. We'll go out to dinner some night, and I'll make sure there's a room with instruments nearby. And Jack will tell you this, I guarantee the guitar amps will just be getting turned on. I will hit a lick, Tommy will hit a lick, Jack will punch a groove, Michael will hit a groove, and I guarantee you, within the first 30 seconds, we'd go, that's awesome, what's that? I don't know, but let's do this. And all of a sudden it'll turn into a song. Within a few minutes, we'll have a killer song. I guarantee.
I believe that. And here's when I'm going to start to lay the foundation for. I know that because everybody's like, they got to get together. They got to get together. Now, I don't know about performing live, like right now, like in the next few weeks or months, like right now. But I don't know, man. Maybe we can have a little spirit campfire with the boys getting back together.
You know, I did this, believe it or not, with the Mike Huckabee show, and I've seen Sammy Hagar do it, and I'm doing it with my band. We're going to be doing it here on the Spirit Campfire. But I think it's something about a click track. We lay down the bases, and everybody else plays on it. We're good. Jack, let's pursue that sometime before the end of the year.
I'm in. I'm good. I'm count me in.
And we've got the tools, we got the talent, we've got the fans. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if we just put out the message right now? Hey, tune into the next Spirit Campfire. The damn Yankees just might perform. I mean,
we can play Coming of Age and Don't Tread, and then High Enough, and own the airwaves.
That would be awesome.
Own it.
Right? So what I'd like to say, John, is that the damn Yankees, I've been in a lot of bands. I started in Detroit with the Royal High Boys, and then I had the Lourdes. We won the Michigan Battle of the Bands. I've been around forever. I got to jam with the greatest musicians that ever lived. I've opened up and had bands opening up for me, the greatest musicians that ever walked the earth. I know all about the formation of the Beatles and the Stones and Grand Funk and Aerosmith and ZZ Top, and I know all this stuff. The damn Yankees were the ultimate band. We got together in a room like a bunch of, no baggage.
Right.
We'd unleash a lick, and somebody go, that's interesting. Where does that go? And again, it literally was like It was like teenage sex with a girl, a skinny girl with a bikini. There's things are going to happen, and things happened every time we got together. And Jack, I've told him this before, but I'd like to say it officially on the Spirit Campfire. Every minute collaborating with you and with Tommy and Michael was the height of my musical adventure. I mean, I love my solo stuff and I love the Amboy Duke stuff, but I so loved every greasy, outrageous, fun barbecue minute of the damn Yankees and your wonderful wife, Molly, and your wonderful children at your wonderful land in California. I'm telling you, it was such a positive experience that to this day, when I jam and play, there's an element of Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw and Michael Cardelloni that's in my musical muscle memory, and it comes out all the time.
Our kids grew up together. James,
yes.
I mean, they grew up. I mean,
they still are.
They still. I mean, we were in Dallas. We were in Dallas once, and the newspaper the next day had a headline. It's like Nugent and Blades tear up dressing room. It happened to have been Toby Nugent and James Blades with water guns and just completely destroyed and soaked and everything, the dressing room. And it's like Nugent and Blades tear up dressing room at, in Dallas. And it was like, I mean, that's what would happen. I mean, it was just, I mean, I was around when Rocco was born, right? My son Colin and Rocco are in LA, and they're best friends in LA. They go hikes all the time. They're pals in LA.
Yeah. So tell me this. Now, one thing that's been a common denominator in all the amazing guests and friends, Ted, that you've been bringing to the Spirit Campfire is there's this you guys are in touch with the spirit world, however you want to refer to that, God, the universe, whatever. When Ted says we plug into the amp and music just happened, there has to be some intangible with that amount of talent in the room, with that amount of egos that are being checked, that when you hear something definitively, each one of you is bringing something to the table and you hear it from a different point of view, and you're able to shape that sonic entity into something that none of us have ever heard before, even though it started as something that was simple. Is that kind of the process, that everyone was so uniquely connected?
Well, if I may, I'm going to just make a brief statement. Then, Jack, I want your take on this. But I often use the term when I play in my music, and damn Yankees music, when I'm playing, Lucille, it's out of body.
Right.
The music, I'm not even me anymore. I'm now music. And so that is a spiritual. It's like the Native Americans when they invite me to a sweat lodge, or when they take me to a spirit mountain and burn the sweetgrass. There is a spiritual world, and though it's real physical with the way Jack and Tommy and Michael and I create music, it's overtly sexual and physical and outrageous. But Jack, is there not like a samurai musical spirit when we get together?
2 times in my life, and this is a true story, and 2 times this happened to me, and both times we were on stage with the damn Yankees, and something happened, and you were playing a solo, and somehow, I mean, we're in front of like 15,000 people, like in Cleveland at Blossom or something like that, and it was like, all these people, was sold out and everything like that, and you were doing a solo and you were playing, and it's like, and you hit a note, and some note you hit, this is, as God is my witness, you hit a note, and suddenly everything just went when I was standing there, and all of a sudden everything just stopped, and everything just there was no sound coming into my ears, no music, no nothing. It was I guess the only thing you can relate it to is if someone from India saying it's like they'd reached nirvana or something. I mean, at that moment, it's like it was like this beautiful. This is so bizarre. I've probably never told this story, but it was like this beautiful, calming, soothing sensation, almost like you're in a womb. You know what I mean? And just like everything is taken care of, and it just happened. It was like, and I was aware of it. And then all of a sudden, it was like, and all of a sudden, and we're right back into the whole thing. This happened to me twice. And both times it was the damn Yankees. And I'm not kidding you, man. Both times it was when you were playing a solo, man. Wow. And it was like you were there. And I think that we touched on something that people so rarely or sometimes never touch on or have never been able to like experience that. But I hope it happened to me, and it was the most bizarre thing. And I mean, you're talking about spirituality. I don't care what it is. It's like it took me to another place. And
wow. And I hope people are listening, because what Jack is articulating is a parallel variation of what I think I've talked about every time on the Spirit Campfire with you, John. Even when we did the salute to the troops, I talk about out of body, about going beyond the physical,
exactly,
and into the ether, into the vortex beyond the tangible. And I know I'm speaking in wild terms in what Jack is talking about, but I'd like that I was experiencing that out of body, and the uninhibitedness, the freedom I felt with the damn Yankees propelled me into note passages and sounds that have never happened before. Coltrane, Hendrix, God bless them all. But I was so free and so propelled to go into the road non-traveled, the non-road musically, and to hear you articulate that, Jack, I'm glad we're not in the same room. I'd give you a big kiss right now.
That's right.
Awesome.
That's right. Let me throw out a theory here. So I'm sure you guys are very familiar with the theory of OM, O-M, right? Which is the sound of the universe. And if you just look up, if you just Google OM, the sound of the universe, it says OM is the basic sound of the universe. Chanting it symbolically and physically tunes us into that sound and acknowledges our connection to everything in the world and the universe. The rhythmic pronunciation and vibrations have a calming effect on the body and the nervous system, similar to the effects of meditation. Do you think maybe that theory is what you're experiencing when it's at that moment, it's at the right frequency?
It's not a theory. That's what happened.
That's what happened. And it would almost be scary if it happened all the time, because I wouldn't know. It's almost like putting your hand through into another universe, like going through the gel, and all of a sudden you're touching something that is intangible, that, you know what I mean? It's like, it was like that. I don't know if we as humans can handle that, is what I'm saying.
Well, that's because we're not human. We go beyond the human dwelling. But let me tell you, Jack, this is called the Spirit Campfire, because you know my relationship with the native peoples and the earth and the Great Spirit. This is the Spirit Campfire, and we got a little saying that says the physics of spirituality with attitude. That's what touched us. That's not just in those magical moments, but throughout the musical collaboration. Those just happen to be like intoxicating out-of-body outrage. But the entire damn Yankees experience was just, it definitely was the pulse of Mother Earth and beyond.
And there was also a lot of like, hey, pull my finger. But anyway, which is...
It's mixed with getting too heavy for me.
I'm getting uncomfortable. It's getting so heavy. I'm getting a little like, Jesus.
Jeez.
Well, I know that the damn Yankees were equal except in one department, and that is farting at the right moment. I owned that gold medal. In a closed elevator or during an interview, I could let one rip on an aluminum chair that sounded like a duck that just got hacked.
Is there ever a situation?
Mikey, come quick! I'm pooping tubes of sand. Mikey, come quick! We'd be in the dressing room going, God, Mikey, come quick!
The opening tape would be on. We're supposed to go on stage in like 30 seconds, and I'd come screaming out of the toilet stall with a roll of toilet paper stuck up my ass and my pants down around my ankles and going, I don't think I can do this! Somebody wipe me!
That's exactly right. I swear that happened. I was witness to that. That happened.
Man.
I'm not kidding you.
Man, did this take a turn? Wow, we were over here. Now we're over here.
So we go from the physics of spirituality to dirty diapers. We can cover all the bases.
I'm sorry. That's what the damn Yankees were all about. You just experienced it yourself. All that home stuff and everything. I got it. But pull my finger. You know.
Well, I remember. Here's one last funny one. Even though we could go on for 100 years.
Hours.
So
I got it.
I have a 60-year ritual that before I go on stage, I don't care what I've eaten, but I will take a T-Rex dump
Ted,
right before I go on stage.
Ted, come on. We don't need to talk about it.
Are these the greatest shit stories never told?
But
Like,
listen to this.
on?
So we were over in London, and I was drinking a whole bunch of that gold top milk, and we were getting ready to go on stage. I went, Carlotti, Michael, come quick. I'm giving birth to white tubes of sand.
It was all because Billy Gibbons was over there with us. He was doing something over there, and he brought a whole bunch of this really bad English tapioca. And Ted was devouring the tapioca before we got the kind that I don't know where it came from. He brought like tons of it, and Ted was eating nonstop this bad English tapioca. And then he had to go on stage, and he's like, I can't go now. I can't.
So yeah, it was no fun at all. Well, Jack, I got to tell you, thanks for coming on here. You give Molly and the boys and everybody a big Nugent hug and kiss, and God bless you, man. Thank you for enriching our lives with the killer musical authority that you deliver in every musical endeavor you pursue. And thanks for including me in that damn Yankee.
Oh man, thanks for having me on. I mean, come on, we could, like you said, John, Ted and I could go on for hours.
Dude, you guys could go on forever.
We're just getting started.
I know. We got to have like a damn Yankees marathon.
There you go.
That's going to be.
One thing we damn well better not do is have all four of us on at the same time. Okay. Nothing will be accomplished.
Nothing. Not like I have a good feeling. I think it's going to be called the Damn Yankees Show from to Farts. I like that. I think it's a good title. There's something catchy about it.
On my ass is killing me.
Maybe farts are Like maybe we didn't even know this. That's the frequency of the universe.
Oh, by the way, I want to mention that I've always respected.
You're not going to talk about your hat again, are you?
Yeah.
Jack is he's such a musical force that I wanted to mention. I don't know where I've got this, but Jack, tell us about the master class that you've got coming up.
Oh,
yeah. A musical master class.
I got a master class at the Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp coming up. I think it's August 13th or something.
August 13th. Where does that take place?
You should know.
Yeah, and we're gonna do one just like what you guys. We're gonna get on. We're gonna grab guitars and. Oh man, Ted, we didn't even play guitars.
What? You guys pick up your guitar and play. We have 5 minutes left. Come on, play some music.
Play me a lick, Jack.
Play a lick, Jack.
Get your acoustic guitar. Play us a lick. Jack can master any instrument. I can hear that.
Is that
a little? Like, what are you playing?
Come on, let's play it.
What do you got? I can't play with you.
You can't play. You guys will be out of time. You play.
Fly me over yesterday. Can you take me high enough? It's never over. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Here's the solo.
That's just what it needed. Just like I said 30 years ago. That's just what it needed.
How about this on a musical note? How about that I go from the world of this unique Gibson hollow body jazz guitar Birdland, and then through the entire damn Yankee episode, was it 5-6 years, I played nothing but Paul Reed Smith guitar, which actually it was an improvise, adapt, and overcome thing, because there's a lot of guitar players out there that obviously noted that. But during the damn Yankees, Paul Reed Smith made a bunch of custom hollow body PRSs, and boy, did they serve me well with the damn Yankees, huh?
Wow.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Wow.
All right, Jack, God bless you, man.
Listen, Jack, don't turn off your computer yet. Just we're going to wrap this up, but don't turn your computer off yet because you'll break our chain. But we thank you so much, Jack, for joining us. Ted, this has been unbelievable. The reaction to the show, everyone is saying, literally, everyone's saying this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Is this what these guys were like in the studio? Please, God, let them get back together. I mean, there's just so much that, like, I mean, just think of this, Ted. Think of the amount of joy that the damn Yankees brought to everyone, right? You guys come in, you come on the scene in the late 90s, and today in 2020, where, everything is just going to shit and everyone's like, what's happening? Everyone can watch this, and it's positive energy, sitting around the campfire, listening to stories from some of the greatest musicians of all time. What a
Well,
gift.
as I told Billy Gibbons and Mitch Ryder and Jason and Greg and everybody we've had on, Ricky Medlock and Tim Montana, I said the same thing to Jack, and I know I'm going to say the same thing to all of our guests because I'm having people on I really respect and admire, and that is the word enrichment. Jack Blades and what he does with Night Ranger, what he did with all his musical, what he done with when he jams with other musicians and writes songs for other bands, they all bring us such a life enrichment. I mean,
Right.
the soundtrack, when it all comes at the end of the day, it really is the music we're listening to. It's an escape. It represents magical moments in our lives. So Jack Blades is a musical authority in all his different variations, has brought us great enrichment. So I salute the man. He's, I use the term blood brother. Even if we weren't musical blood brothers, he's such a family man with such a work ethic, such an honest guy of integrity, a reliability. He would be my blood brother even if there wasn't a damn Yankees. So I'm really a lucky son of a bitch to have friends like this.
I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm so honored that you're allowing me to sit around the campfire and allowing our audience and just inviting us in. Like you said, you want to have a good time, hang out with me. It's just unbelievable. So listen, I want to go out on a high note here because I want everyone to know our mission here is to spread the positive energy and to spread the fun and the laughter and the freedom. And please tell everybody about this show. Forward the link, like it, give us a heart, tell everyone about it, and tell everybody we're on Mondays and we're on Thursdays, 9 o'clock on Ted Nugent Facebook, on Killcliff Facebook, where you can find us. Listen, spread the energy. Tell people, Ted, we're just at the top of the hour. Do you want to play us out with a little lick, a little music or something, just to leave us with a little smile on our face?
I will. And on Thursday, I believe we got Michael Cardelloni coming on. Isn't that right?
We do. I mean, we do. And listen, everyone needs to understand a mission that I have, I'm taking on as sort of like a personal mission, is somehow Ted Nugent is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't know how. I actually didn't even know that. I just assumed he was. But I learned recently what we all need to do is just bug the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just keep sending them emails, keep sending them messages. Eventually, look, they're going to come around to it, and Ted will wind up in the Hall of Fame. But it's kind of a joke if Ted Nugent's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, in my opinion, and in millions and millions and millions of other people's opinion. There you go. I said it.
That's a fact. Anyhow, we always like to wrap it up with a salute to various military charities, and I would like to celebrate the warriorsweekend.org.
Yep.
It's a great military charity, warriorsweekend.org. If you have a spare $5 or you know some friends that would like to help, warriorsweekend.org. We take some heroes of the military and their families on soul-cleansing outdoor adventures that really work. Dash has expressed this. Crispy has expressed this. All the heroes of the military have expressed that the healing powers of nature are critical as they get past some of their injuries. And so I would like to thank Jack Blades. What a great night this is, the Spirit Campfire. And let's see, what would I play? Maybe I'll just make something up. The Spirit Campfire, the physics of spirituality with attitude. See you guys on Thursday with Michael Cardelloni. Thank you, John.
Thursday.
Godspeed. Thank you, Dash.
God bless you all.
See you on Facebook.
See ya.